All right, well, here we are on Saturday, August 19th, I think it is.
Yes.
We're doing our man in the street interview with this gentleman. Can you give me your name, sir?
William McGuire.
Okay, Mr. McGuire, where do you live? You don't have to give us the exact address, but what's the general?
I live on Wallace Avenue.
North Buffalo.
Yes.
Okay, north or south of Hurdle?
North.
Okay. And sir, what's your profession?
I was the superintendent for City Hall and the superintendent for mechanical services for the city of Buffalo. I'm now retired.
Okay. And are you a capitalist? Are you a businessman?
I would say I'm both.
Okay, you own property then?
I own property on Parkside.
You own your own house on Wallace?
Yes.
Okay, so you got quite a stay. How long have you lived in the city of Buffalo?
Lived in the city of Buffalo 38 years.
Okay, well that's too long a time. Why don't you leave?
Well, sometimes you want to when you see certain things happening.
All right, well listen, we're here at the famed Parkside Depew intersection, also known as the House of White Posts. I'm doing a quick scan around the intersection here. Why don't you give me some indication as to what you think is good or bad about this, and perhaps what some solutions would be. Tell us what you think about this.
I think this was an absolute waste of money. I don't know who reviewed this, and I hope somebody did review this before all this was put down.
Who, you've been in government for a long time. Who was likely to have reviewed it?
It would be the traffic division for public works, I would imagine. Your councilman, very definitely. And I would, for the city of Buffalo, it's still be public works.
Okay.
Mostly public works and your councilman in the area.
And you're here today, this morning, and you're on what looks to be what do you call that thing?
A mountain bike.
Okay, so you are able to ride that? In spite of your advanced age?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you ride this bike?
Yes, I do.
On the streets of the city of Buffalo?
Yes.
Okay. Do you drive a motorized vehicle?
Yes, I do. I have a Suburban. My wife has a Honda Civic. I have a motorcycle. And Parkside is a major route that I take whenever I'm trying to go anywhere from North Buffalo into mostly any other part of the city.
Okay, how was it designed? Is it a two-lane street, or what is it?
Parkside was a four-lane street when I first came to this area 38 years ago.
Okay, now have you ever been on the 198, the expressway that goes through the park there?
The 198 used to be an expressway. Now it seems to be more like a city street.
So it's the 30 mile an hour now?
Yes.
But are you familiar with the signage that is on the 198 when you get off?
Absolutely.
At the, what does it say at the signage?
Parkside Avenue.
Okay, it doesn't say Wallace.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't say Starin.
Doesn't say Wellington.
No, it does not say Wellington.
Not Voorhees. Not Parker.
Nope.
Okay. So I just wanted to get that clear for the record here. So that if you purchase property on Parkside, you own property on Parkside.
Yes, I do. I lived on Parkside for 10 years. 10 years.
And when you purchased that property, did you realize that there was traffic on Parkside?
Of course I did, because I'm purchasing a property. You want to know what the neighborhood's like. I checked it out. Yes, there was a lot of traffic, but I still wanted the property. And when the traffic became an issue, I did not go to City Hall and say, "Oh, can you change Parkside?" I moved my family somewhere else. Because Parkside is a major route. There's going to be issues. There's a lot of traffic, but it was designed to keep the traffic on Parkside, not reroute all the traffic to the side streets.
Well, why do we have this traffic? Why don't we just get rid of it all? Why can't everyone just ride a bicycle?
One, because we're in Buffalo. You know, there's only so many months you can comfortably ride a bicycle. And a lot of people do ride bikes, but they don't ride them in order to get to work, to make deliveries, or for emergency. They ride them for enjoyment. That's mostly what people do when it comes to bikes in the city of Buffalo. Nice day, let's go for a little ride.
Okay, well, you know, we've been here for a few minutes and there's a lot of motorized vehicles that have come through here. How many bicycles have you seen other than the two of us?
One.
Okay.
So one bicycle come through here, and we have been here for 15, 20 minutes at least.
Okay, well, would you be in favor of just telling people they can't drive motor vehicles in Buffalo anymore and we're all going to have to ride bikes?
Only if they gave us hovercrafts. But no, you have to drive your vehicle. Too much depends on your vehicle. So, and besides that, this was set up originally, oh so many years ago, to handle the traffic coming off the 198, to distribute to North Buffalo and to Kenmore, and further on.
All right, well, you know, there's a couple of joggers over there, so we've got a couple of pedestrians. I noticed they went around the outside of this, and though well, now they're in what looks like a pedestrian lane, but they actually were running on the sidewalk for a second there.
And if you'll notice, they're also running in the pedestrian lane and bicycle lane, but they're going in the wrong direction.
You're right, they are on the wrong side of the street. All right, well,
why don't they, instead of doing all of this, which is absolutely confusing for everyone, put a circle in here, or get someone to actually design some real bike paths without all this mayhem.
Is this a rhetorical question, or do you want the answer?
Yes, it is.
The reason is because this is the city of Buffalo.
And I would say that yes, because everywhere else that they've decided they want to either calm traffic or put a bike path in, they have destroyed the traffic flow in the city of Buffalo. Not only here, but further up Parkside towards the expressway. And
did you notice that isn't a bicycle that just went through there? Why do we allow people to be coming through with trucks like that?
let me see. Oh, business, commerce. Everything that makes the entrepreneur possible.
Do people want things delivered to their homes today?
Everyone wants things delivered to their home today. Let us ask Amazon. And if you will have noticed, that truck was not having an easy time coming around this corner because those lanes are too thin.
Well, let's take a look right here then at this painted out pavement area here. Can you explain to me what it means when pavement is painted out like that? Can I drive on that?
Well, it looks like you can't even drive your bicycle on it, or you can't even walk on it.
I think according to the V&T, that means it's not there. But it is there. That's what bothers me.
Maybe it's in another dimension.
If we paint something, does it go away?
I don't think so. Does bring notice to it. So what is going to happen with something like this when it comes to winter? Will the plows be working around all this stuff? Are they going to have the city going to snow blow around all this?
Have you noticed what the plows have done to the curbing up there at the bump out on Parkside where they squeeze it to one lane?
Absolutely.
The curbs essentially don't exist anymore.
Right, which I knew when I saw them doing this. This is Buffalo here. This isn't California. You know, it's not North Carolina, Florida, or any of those states that have the snow and the weather that we have.
But with global warming, isn't it possible that this could become Southern California?
Well, by then, we won't be riding bicycles anymore. We'll all have hovercrafts.
If there's any of us left.
100,000 years, yeah, there's a possibility.
All right, now, Mr. McGuire, there's a dog coming here, and we're wondering if we could get an interview with this dog.
Well, I would say yes, but I do not see anywhere on these lanes where it says the dogs are, where's a dog walk.
Is there any possibility we could get this dog to say something for our camera?
No.
Okay,
He's
well.
shy.
We'll take your arm out.
Okay then. Okay. So somebody actually did walk through here, which is good to see. But it is a sunny day. My guess is they wouldn't be walking through here on a sunny day if this was the middle of winter.
Probably not. And since we've had one bicycle and one couple actually cross through here, the question is do we do all of this and change all of the traffic because an occasional person walks through here and they don't have the ability to walk through with good judgment, so we have to make all these lines so that we force judgment on them?
So
Should we assume that adults
can conduct their own affairs?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, is this a rhetorical question?
Very definitely.
How long do I have to give you an answer? All right, well, thank you, Mr. McGuire. Now, I noticed that you have a t-shirt on which seems to be from the Russian hockey team. Can you tell us what your t-shirt is for?
Well, years ago I was on the Russian. No. So, Cycling Club of Central Park.
All right, very good. That's a lot of letters. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time this morning. Okay, we're back live at Parkside Depew, and we have a question here for our audience at home. There are green areas here, and our camera doesn't like to go down, but there's green areas connected to other green areas across the way
That go nowhere but to another green area.
So that seems to be an endless loop. And here's a white crosswalk, which I assume is for people and whatever. I don't know what a green crosswalk means, and maybe that's for people who are environmentally friendly. Okay.
Or people with green clothing.
Well, how about Irish? Maybe it's
They
for.
didn't let me know when I'm Irish.
Maybe it's for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, is this where they're going to have the parade now?
I could well be. It's cost enough. Maybe we ought to have it. I don't believe in asphalt world, and I don't believe that you put large amounts of pavement down and then paint it over and pretend it isn't there, because apparently that's what we've decided that we're doing here.
Well, maybe they consider this street art.
It could well be. Maybe we should get back here with some fuchsia paint and do some happy faces and JT loves LB, etc.
You know, I think in between each of these white lines, they should be filled with a different color, not necessarily green.
I tend to agree. It makes sense to me as much as anything else here, but the idea that I put down asphalt, at great cost and requirements of maintenance, and then I paint it over and say it's not there, It's still here. I can't do much about it.
Is this invisibility painting?
Well, we're not allowed to be where we are here.
We obviously aren't here.
Are we invisible?
To the government we are, until they want to tax us.
Aha. An anti-tax revolter. We'll put that online and see if you paid your taxes, Mr. McGuire.
Well, let me correct. I believe in taxes, but I don't believe in a waste of taxes.
Well, wait a minute. Are you a former government employee?
Yes, I am.
And as such, former government employee, you said you were retired. Are you now receiving a pension?
A pension that I worked very hard for.
Answer the question, yes or no. Are you receiving a pension?
Yes, a pension that I worked very hard for.
So it would be accurate to say that you are a tax eater.
No, not under the pension. The pension pays for itself. Because it's not allowed to be dipped into by New York State government. All the money that's been put into it was put into by employees, and then the investor, the controllers, have been very good about investing. No money comes out of the state from taxes for my pension.
And you know what else? The controllers in New York State have been very good at stopping rates. There are some states where the pension funds are unfunded.
Right.
And that's a good night, Irene, because it's a massive debt that you owe to the past that you've got nothing for. Right. Again, Mr. McGuire, thank you. I think we'll now head to see some different ways of controlling traffic.
Yes, more effective and not so ugly.
All right, well, that's an opinion. All right, we're here again with our Western New York Field of Dreams Handycam with our prototypical man in the street, William McGuire, who introduced himself in the earlier video. I just wanted to point out, we're at Decatur, and hope you can see that, Parker in the town of Tonawanda with recently installed speed humps. And I'd have to check this, but I guess these were installed before last winter. Mr. McGuire, you're standing on some sort of traffic bump there, but could you point out to me what's going on here with the yellow paint on this? Well, what do you think? Why do you think that yellow paint is stripped off that was on that curb last year?
I can only imagine that would be from the plows.
So this is 1 year of plow. And
mind you, it was 1 year, which was actually a mild winter.
So there was very little snow. And you can see that they're capable of grooving up pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good snow removal equipment.
All right,
This is what you're gonna get.
let's get a general view here and maybe get out into the middle of the circle and continue our interview. Here we are. We're looking down Decatur, and there used to be a traffic light here. Parker is clearly the dominant traffic street running north-south, and you'll see that while we're here. At least that, the paramedic, I thought it was a cop, he went around a circle. The cops often just run over the circle. Okay, what we're looking at here is this corner was residential to a recreational park facility. The swimming pool is here at Decatur and Parker, and then there's, I guess that's a softball field over here, other softball fields, maybe baseball fields, but park here at Parker. Very nice, very pleasant area. And you can see that there were and are two houses on the street corner, so we've completed a complete circle here. This used to be standard old-fashioned city-town intersection, urban intersection, and where we're standing right now, there was a traffic light. And my wife and I would come through here often, and since we would primarily come north-south on Parker, we were always sitting at this light waiting for traffic on Decatur that wasn't there.
Because it was a timed light.
Yeah, and had no sign. It was a dumb light. So I'm not seeing anybody stand here. A couple of people, we obstructed them as they were trying to drive through.
CCCP?
Canoeing, Cycling, and Kayaking Club of Central Park.
I was going to say, is there a...
You thought we were the Russian hockey team, didn't you? That means that you're over 40, because if you're under 40, you think the Vietnam War was before World War II, and you don't remember the Miracle on Ice.
Too much.
You're showing your age.
Have a good
Have
day.
a good day. Now he's in the middle of our good. That's a good shot. All right. So anyhow, Bill, what's good and what's bad here? What do you think? Is this better than a street light? What would you have done differently here?
What I would have done differently here is I would have avoided these long islands here.
Yeah, the low concrete bump islands. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that did. And also, Bill, just so you know, look, they modified the curb to force you into this loop-de-loop S. And
Yes,
now,
but-
to some extent, in traffic control and traffic calming, it's horizontal and vertical deflection. Okay, so they were trying to do a horizontal deflection. I don't know if it works. It certainly doesn't make life easier for plow drivers.
Certainly it doesn't. And it's also during when you have snow, which, I mean, sorry, this is Buffalo and, Tonawanda here. Where's it all going to go? And all of a sudden, these lanes are going to be thinner. And if you didn't have these islands, you'd have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the snow, as far as your traffic movement. There's a lot of traffic circles that don't have these incoming islands that work just fine. But a circle is nice. Circle works well for many people. There's a few people that have problems with them, but they usually learn how to work.
How would
This circle, though, in my opinion, is a little bit large, or at least the lanes around it are a little thin, especially when it comes to wintertime.
And they did that on purpose. It's lane narrowing is another one of the techniques for traffic calming. Whether it was a good idea or not, these islands, would they work better in Southern California?
Actually, at least there would be less issues. I don't think they work anywhere. I think it's another design feature that architects, engineers, they figure, oh, we're going to put this here. You know what?
So they took a class and there were these things in the book and they figured, hey, let's use one of those.
Let's start using that. I saw that somewhere, and I'm going to try it here. I mean, one, they're ugly. And now you got a maintenance problem when it comes along later. But when it comes to thinning lanes for most people do not make a lot of difference, especially here. They literally will just drive up on the yellow here. Now,
There we just saw a situation where there was a confusion as to who had right of way. And in fact, the lady who was stopped there and being polite had the right of way over the person entering the circle, but wasn't sure that the person entering the circle did it. And in fact, so they were polite and we didn't have an accident.
Right.
But there is a bit of confusion, especially until people get used to this.
it takes a little while. Another thing they might have done, I have no idea how much this costs, but I'm sure it costs quite a bit.
I think
They could have had light sensors or weight sensors, magnetic sensors in the street to change the lights. So the light, if you don't have any traffic on Decatur, then Parker would flow through nice. Then when someone did come, okay, stop for a moment.
But this was designed to do the calming also in an area that's park-like with kids going across the street to the pool, which is obviously not operating now. Why aren't there kids in the pool today? Why isn't it open today? I mean, it's August, and it's not a bad day, and it's Saturday.
It's a nice day.
If you're not using this pool now, when do you use it?
Well, maybe it's opening. I see some people. starting to come on over here.
Now, what are you supposed to do by way of signaling coming in and out of this?
You mean legally?
Yes. What should one do?
Well, you can't use a turn signal here because you're coming into the circle, but coming out of the circle, you should use your signal.
And that's what I do, but no one ever does.
No.
And we just saw that. It's rare as hen's teeth to see someone signaling that they're leaving, but they should. When you're in, you have the right of way.
And coming in, there is no signal to come into the
well, it's yield. It's a yield, and I guess we ought to get that on video, so you get an idea as to what signage you see when you come into a circle like this.
Oh yeah, they probably got them right up. They got them right up here.
Yeah, that's pretty good signage, I think.
Yeah.
So coming into this circle, as you're driving, you're seeing it's Decatur Road. You have to yield, and it's a roundabout. So I don't think you have any issues there. Of course, there you see with big dumb truck, the guy just ran over the circle. And we've seen the police do that on several occasions, so it's pretty popular. That is a low ramp curb, and it's designed to be run over. So I don't know if you can blame them much.
You can't blame them much
Technically,
because
that's a ticket, though, isn't it? I think it is.
I would say yes, but then again, you have to consider that oftentimes you'll have people that will, while they're waiting because of right of way, they'll be pulled a little bit too far, and then you know, your lanes are too thin.
Well,
I think they're trying to get rid of trucks. They only want
is that
little
bad?
cars.
Is that bad?
Yes, it is. Trucks are an essential part of entrepreneurs. How many entrepreneurs, contractors, people that have to deliver stuff are going to use these tiny cars?
What word did you use? What? Do you mean entrepreneur? Or are you French? I thought you were Irish.
Well, since I'm Irish, I got to split between French and English.
Speaking of splitting, we have to leave.
Okay.
So thank you again, Mr. McGuire.